You know how Hollywood doesn't make original movies anymore? Well, downsizing is here to fix that. Weird and wonderful, zigging where it should zag, this wildly imaginative flight of fancy balances whimsy, screwball comedy, social satire, and a generous meditation on the foibles and highest aspirations of human nature. Those contradictory, sometimes confounding tones are ably juggled by Matt Damon, who assumes his most unassuming dad bod accessibility to play Paul Safranek, a mild-mannered occupational therapist who works at Omaha Steaks in Nebraska. Downsizing takes place in an indeterminate future, 10 years after researchers in Scandinavia have discovered a method of cellular reduction that can safely shrink human beings to less than the size of Barbie dolls, thereby dramatically staving off their ruinous impact on the globe's vanishing resources. As the film opens, not everyone has gone small. But Paul, whose dutiful sense of helpfulness at work extends to his marriage to Audrey, Kristen Wiig, is intrigued. When friends show up at a party extolling the virtues of tiny living, the couple embarks on a tour of an all-small development called Leisure Land, where even modest means can bankroll a lifestyle of McMansionesque luxury and safety. In Leisure Land, a little goes a long way, literally and figuratively. Directed by Alexander Payne from a script he wrote with Jim Taylor, Downsizing isn't played for broad, honey, I shrunk. Matt Damon laughs. The comedy here is mostly observational, with gentle sight gags and inventive camera work and stagecraft drawing viewers almost immediately into an alternate but believable world. Supported by an ingeniously banal production design by Stephanie Acella, Payne's team never makes its miniaturized aesthetic overcute, or an obvious punchline, although there's a perfectly adorable moment when recently shrunk patients are gently transferred from gigantic gurneys to their now appropriately doll-sized beds. Instead, they create a world whose contours and dimensions feel at once alien and familiar. Tasked with leading viewers through what becomes an increasingly bizarre and labyrinthine adventure, Damon's everyman is a capable, if sometimes bemused guide, bringing his best self to bear when he falls in with a sybaritic neighbor named Dusan, Christoph Waltz, a South Asian domestic worker named Tran, Hong Chao, and, eventually, a polyglot cast of characters who embody a human race that's just as chaotic, pluralistic, tragic, and inspiring at 5 inches tall as it is at 5 feet. There is cynicism on view in Downsizing. Payne is clearly distressed at the social, political, and environmental degradation around us. But rather than succumbing to despair, he chooses to honor the struggle between our worst and best selves. Downsizing touches knowingly on such present-day issues as climate change, immigration, widening wealth disparity, and terrorism. But its deepest philosophical issues play out in Paul's evolving relationship with Tran, portrayed by Chow in a performance that is spiky, endearing, bracingly direct and touchingly expressive. As the story makes its circuitous way, what viewers suspect is going to be a patronizing fable of acceptance and tolerance instead becomes much tougher and more honest, with Paul's interior journey taking on an almost spiritual dimension of self-reckoning.